Okay, this story takes place during like my science class. Now, after thinking about this story, I feel like stuff always happens in my science class, and just that. Now I might be, wrong. I got plenty more stories, and yeah, sorry I haven't been recording in a while. I've been grounded, but yeah, and I don't want to talk about it. So let's just get right into it. Okay, so it was a normal day. It was, I think, like a few months ago, maybe like 3 months ago, and it's the same school year, and basically I almost got into a fight with this kid. Now, it was a normal day, and I go to science class, and science class is my fifth period of the day, and it is the class I have before lunch. So I go to my science class, and I'm sitting there, and I'm doing my work, whatever we're learning about, I can't remember, but we're in there, and there's these group of kids, like it's around like six kids in this one friend group, and these dudes are annoying. They are probably, if you look at them, you're like, wow, these kids are idiots. And yeah, that's what I was literally thinking. So it was a normal day, doing my work. I'm sitting there, and this one kid starts throwing stuff at me. And he starts throwing like erasers or pencils or whatever. And I basically have my own kind of like 3 strike rule. So if you kind of mess with me 3 times in like a certain amount of time and do stuff, then, strike 3, you're out. And I'm going to get pissed. I'm going to do something. So I was being patient. I gave this kid 3 chances. He didn't stop. Now, I turn around and I'm like, yo, man, who's doing that? Like, for real, better stop. And then I turn back around, and this kid throws it again. Now, I don't know who it is, but I look around, and I'm like, yo, bro, for real. Like, who is it? Stop. And then throws another thing at me again. And I figured out who it was, and I look at him, and I literally, like, I'm not sure if I stand up or I'm just sitting there, but I get kind of closer to him. And I'm like, yo, dude, you better stop before I'm going to beat you up. I swear to God. Now, I can't beat people up for crap. I am weak. But I will try. I can WWE wrestle you, man. Like, I watched John Cena. Like, I'm just kidding with you guys. But yeah, this kid, I'm not even kidding. He literally looks like this. He literally looks like the mayor from the Lorax. Okay. But, yeah. And this kid gets all salty that I threaten to beat him up. Now, that's not nice. Don't ever do that. Don't threaten to beat somebody up. That's not good. But definitely have like a 3 strike rule of some sort. Now, after I beat him up, wait, I don't beat him up. I mean, after I threatened him, my science teacher, he looks over, he's like, hey, what's going on? And I'm like, hey, man, can you tell them to stop, man? They're just being annoying, and they keep messing with me. And he's like, yeah, man, just go sit over there. I'm like, okay. And I go away from them, thank God. And eventually, the kids are so salty. Like, they're in this friend group, and I'm all by myself. They are that salty. So, the period is over. I go, and this group of 6 kids, I'm not even kidding, were so salty and butthurt that I threatened to beat up one of them, goes to the teacher, and tells on me. And I'm like, these kids can't be serious. And I go to lunch, I get my food, and I sit down with my friends, and I'm talking to them about what happened. And then I see the group of kids walking over to me in the lunchroom. And I'm like, okay, god damn it. Alright, yo, bro, you got my backhand? He's like, yeah, man, I got you. And these kids walk up to me, and they think they're acting all tough. I'm not even kidding. They are not acting tough. Like, they're trying, but they're just not even close. And I stand up, and I'm in this kid, like, this kid is in my face. And so I get in his face as well. And he's like, yeah, man, you gonna beat me up? And I'm like, man, I gave you 3 chances to stop. And you kept going and throwing stuff at me. You know, if you're messing with somebody else, they probably would have beaten you up already. And so the kid is still in my face, and he's all salty and angry. And after a little bit of, like, a minute goes by of him in my face, and we're kind of talking trash to each other, this staff member shows up. And I was annoyed by these kids. Like, I'm not even kidding. I'm at my school right now. Everybody knows me, and I'm chill with everybody. I'm so chill with the teachers. Like, I don't know. They're like, bro, Boston's awesome. Like, I'm chill with everybody. I'm like, come on, you know me. And the staff member shows up, and she's like, hey, what's going on here? I'm like, hey, these people are just bothering me, and I'm trying to mind my own business, and I gave them chances to stop, and yeah, and they keep bothering me. And these kids are like, he threatened to beat me up. And I'm like, dude, can you just leave me alone? Like, I don't like to really fight anybody, but, like, he's just pissed and butthurt about that, which, you know, is understandable, but I really wasn't trying to fight this guy unless he was, you know, continuing and wanting to do something. Like, he was wanting to start something, you know? And, after eventually this, you know, staff member shows up, forgot her name, I don't know, but she was, like, she's in this, like, room where she's, like, an extra staff where kids go if they're, like, being bad or whatever, and she's just, like, the receptionist or, I don't know. But we go away, I'm with the staff member, she's like, hey, come with me, you two, leave him alone, okay? And she's like, alright, tell me what happened. And I'm like, okay. Explain everything. I write it down on the paper about what happened. And they're like, okay. Well, I want you to come here after your last period, and then I'm going to escort you out. Literally, she goes, I'm going to escort you out, and come here first before you leave, and I'm going to make sure you're safe before these kids, you know, try to come and start something with you. I'm like, okay, that's good to know, I guess. And eventually, my final period ends of the day, and I go to this classroom, I grab my guitar, and I'm sitting in there, and I'm waiting. And eventually, after all the kids leave the school, I get grabbed by her, and she's like, okay, well, we're going to walk you out over to this door, and, yeah, you'll get picked up, right? I'm like, yeah. And I'm on my way there, and my science teacher shows up. Now, my science teacher, like, he's awesome. I just have to say it a lot. I love him. He's a great teacher. He's funny, like, awesome. But, yeah. And eventually, we see him, and while we're walking out, he's like, hey, I'll walk him out. And she's like, oh, okay, you can take it from here. And I'm walking, and he's, like, talking to me, and we're talking about what happened, and he was like, yeah, man, I was just upset about it, and, like, they were trying to start stuff, and, you know, if they wanted to continue to do that, then I was going to do something about it. But, yeah, I shouldn't ever do that, you know, never threaten to beat somebody up. He's like, yeah, I had to write you up for it, but I know, I completely understand. You're all good. I'm like, okay, sweet. I get escorted out, and then I'm like, oh, god damn it, I left my guitar. So I have to go back inside. I'm all pissed now. I then grab my guitar. I walk out, finally, and I'm done. I can finally leave school. Now, my cousin picks me up, and she's with her boyfriend, and I tell them about what happened. And yeah, I pretty much go home, talk to my mom about it also, and yeah, everything was all good in the end. You know, those kids were still a little bit salty and butthurt about what happened. I don't blame them, but you know, they're annoying douchebags. I'm gonna say it. I don't care. They really are. And yeah, The kid I threatened to fight? He literally looks like the Lorax Mayor. Alright, see y'all later.